I got back to them within 24 hours and said I'd gotten the all clear for his girlfriend to also come and that she could book plane tickets for herself. A week later, he informed me she had the tickets, and I asked him if we could discuss rebalancing the accommodation costs now that there were 3 of us coming, as it should now be a 3-way split. I was surprised that he responded with anger. As far as he was concerned, the accommodation was paid for, and it was wrong and greedy of me to expect money from his girlfriend. He told me that he was paying for the entire holiday for his girlfriend, so it was still going to be just him and me paying, making it unfair for me not to pay for half. I told him that there were 3 adults, 3 people, and a 3-way split. If he chose to pay for his girlfriend's share, that was his choice and had nothing to do with me. He told me his girlfriend was going to buy me a cocktail to thank me for the accommodation, but if I was going to insist on a split, then I could forget it and buy my own damn cocktails, as he couldn't believe I was being so selfish. The thing is, a cocktail is $15, and I was currently covering half her accommodation costs, about $600. I don't think I was wrong for asking them to cover her share of the accommodation. I hadn't even met her yet, but they thought I should cover her costs because it was already paid for. What do you think? Was it harsh of me to insist she pay for her share of the cost? Update 1. Thank you, everyone. It's interesting to see the various lines of thought. It seems there's a split between those who think everyone pays equally no matter what, those who think a couple sharing a bedroom should be treated as one person cost-wise, and those who think the costs should be split taking into account the shared areas, 1/3 per bedroom, 1/3 shared spaces. With this in mind and everything else going on, I called the accommodation and discussed options, then called my friend. I explained to him that we'd made the agreement to split everything equally when there were only 2 of us going, but I no longer felt that agreement was fair. I suggested the third option, splitting the cost of the communal areas 3 ways but setting a cost per bedroom. I also stated that any food, activities, etc., wouldn't be split anymore, we'd each be responsible for our own, and they could decide as a couple how they were paying for themselves. It didn't go down well at all. He didn't see why he should be out of pocket because I decided to go against our agreement that I'm paying 50% of everything. I stuck to it and said that I'd be willing to negotiate the accommodation costs, but there was no way I was going to pay half for his girlfriend's activities, dinners, or drinks. It was ridiculous for him to think I should be paying half of his girlfriend's costs, especially since she's a complete stranger, and he'd already asked me to change all of our previous plans to suit her. He called me a B-word and told me I was acting crazy. I stopped him and said that from that, I don't think this holiday is going to work. I had spoken to the accommodation, and I was going to cancel as of today. I told him if he still wanted to go, the accommodation would hold open the booking for him for 72 hours, and if he confirmed with them, I'd instructed them to hold on to $1,800 as what he'd contributed to the booking and refund me the rest. He and his girlfriend would have to pay the hotel to finalize. If they didn't confirm, I'd get the refund for the whole amount and then forward him his share. He went quiet, then told me that since I was changing the rules at the last minute, I should leave the entire accom payment because it wasn't his fault that I no longer wanted to go, leaving them in the lurch, and I would be ruining his holiday with his girlfriend. I told him I was canceling and I would definitely not be paying for any accommodation I wouldn't be using. I might have been a little petty when I told him he'd still be paying for his girlfriend's costs, it would just be a little bit more than he was expecting because I was no longer going to subsidize them. I canceled my flights and the accommodation and emailed him all the details. Relevant comments. Who is this guy to you? How did you meet him? How long have you known him? I cannot fathom someone expecting this from someone else. It sounds like an oblivious, self-centered sibling taking advantage of a family bond type of entitlement. This can't have been the first time he has done something this inconsiderate. I'd known him for 5 years, as a friend. Yes, I've had some issues with him for lack of empathy regarding others and some general selfishness. He was a mid-40s guy that basically never had a long-term girlfriend. I just sort of went with the 2 used to doing his own thing to pay much attention to it. We have traveled together before, just us and in larger groups. I had issues in the past with his lack of planning, leaving a lot up to me, but his entire personality seemed to change overnight when he started seeing this new girl. Nothing was good enough. Before he'd at least discuss things, talk options, this time was like hitting a brick wall. His way or no way, decided this was what was going to happen without talking to me, and then got angry when I wanted to discuss it first. Update 2. I haven't kept in contact with them for obvious reasons, but through some mutual type of friends, I found out the following. They plan to go but try to find cheaper accommodation on the island, so let the hold expire without making any contact with the accommodation. From my understanding, everything was booked up completely that weekend and for the next 6 months. They lost the option to use the cabin, and someone else immediately booked it when it became free. There's a wait list. I received back the full deposit and immediately transferred his portion to him as I stated I would. Never got an acknowledgement he received it, but it was an account I had paid into previously and my bank assured me it was good. A mutual friend told me the ex-friend was pissed off, as, against my advice, he had bought non-refundable or non-transferable plane tickets and refused to buy travel insurance, so he's out the cost of those fares, about $3,200, and that because I pulled out, his holiday with his girlfriend was totally ruined and I owed him an apology and the cost of the fares. Not going to happen. As for myself, I've booked a holiday back at the island where I am in a single apartment by myself and plan to have an awesome time.